Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Team Dinner. My name is Jack Maloney, and my guest today is Jim Murray. Jim, thank you for being here.
Jack, thanks for having me. As I said walking in, and when you first DM me, when you followed me on Instagram, I was like, yes. And that really doesn't happen with anyone or any company or anything like that. But as I told you through the DM, and when I showed up here, like I'm legitimately a fan, and it's very eye-catching. The interviews are very friendly, and it's just I like knowing what other people think about restaurants and cuisine in and around Boston. And it's just I don't know, I'm a notorious grump. I don't like most stuff that ends up in my algorithms, but this caught my eye, and I've been a fan over the last couple of months. So thanks for having me.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Yeah, that is probably the best compliment I've ever gotten, is that that someone didn't want to immediately just swipe and move away.
No, and I didn't. I ended up, because again, you usually find it in clip form on Instagram, I think is how it was first fed to me. And it was with my coworker, Kendra Middleton, at the Sports Hub. And I was like, well, I want to watch more of this. I know there's more. So then I found it on YouTube. And that's usually how I consume it, honestly, is just watching the long form. I know that's a rarity because, again, people's brains are pudding now. And they only want to watch this in clips. But for me, I like watching the 45 minutes to an hour that you've been putting out. So
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Cool. And we are eating dumpling schwan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Cambridge Street in East Cambridge. So we have a pretty good spread here.
Yeah, I've already started eating because
let's waste no more time.
I purposely didn't eat that much today so I could pig out here. So
that is the goal.
So thank you.
That's the first priority. All right. First question I've been starting people off with this year, which is we are more than halfway through the year, getting into the fall. Do you have a best meal of 2025?
I do. I'm going to give you, so I have two answers. One is out of Massachusetts, one's in Massachusetts. So, working on the Felger and Mazz show since I've been with those guys, other than 1 year, I've been lucky enough to get sent to the Super Bowl. Each year I've been with them. And so we're there for the week leading into the game. If the Pats are playing in it, we'd get to go to it. Not so much now because they suck. But this year it was in New Orleans, which I think is the best eating city in the country. My favorite restaurant in the country is there. That's Kowloon. So I booked a reservation for myself. I think the second night that I was there, they have these wood-fired oysters that they put out with like a chili garlic butter that I ate 2 orders of. Like a piece of cod, like grilled cod, and cheesy grits, a couple of Sazeracs. It's mind-blowing. Kowloon's amazing.
Big oysters, right?
Yeah, the big fat guys with the chili garlic, and I like dream about them. So that was out of town. That was my favorite meal. In town, I'm more burbs in the city. I'll tell you that now, because I'm like an old grump now.
I get it.
So, Il Ponte in Woburn. You've been there. So my wife and I are in love with the place, and I think for me, it's not just about the food, it's who you're with. We went with our favorite couple who were up from Connecticut, and I like a loud dinner, laughs, busting balls, too many drinks, and obviously great food. And Il Ponte's food is amazing. And I've been usually getting like the left to center stuff there. They do like a lavender duck, like a crispy tuna. Finally, I was like, let me just try the chicken parm. I know it's basic, but it's not typically something I would get in an Italian restaurant just because, like, chicken parm's chicken parm. Right. Their chicken parm it's thin. The pasta's amazing. I'm usually, like, the condiment king, crushed red pepper, more cheese. You don't have to put anything on any of their food. They don't need to put out salt, pepper, anything. Everything is seasoned perfectly every time I've been there. But that's my favorite meal. It was, like, end of May. Great people, laughs, always good food there. It's a small, quaint, cozy, dark restaurant, too. The drinks are always great. The service is always great. So, yeah, in town, Il Ponte, one of like the 8 times I've been there in the last like five months is my favorite meal.
That's perfect. Perfect answer. Cool. And then I've had a similar, I was once in New Orleans for work, and I was by myself, and I was staying at kind of, near the French Quarter, and I popped out to a little bar next to the hotel, and it was just the bartender, me, and like a couple other people that worked there. There was no one else there. They're like, hey, our oysters, we're not going to get through them this week. We're just going to start eating them. Do you want some? And they were bringing out oyster after oyster, and we were all eating them, and it was like one of those really cool, someone who didn't work in restaurants, right? Like that I felt very included in like this cool thing that I got to be a part of. And so oysters in New Orleans, also for myself, is always a very special memory.
I once ate so many there over a 3-day span. The Patriots had a Monday night game there in 2009, the year the Saints ultimately ended up winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And outside of my wife, my buddy, who's my travel partner, I was the best man in his wedding, my friend Derek. We went down there. We went to Baton Rouge for the LSU game on the Saturday. That game Monday night. But it's just oysters. When you're there, when in Rome, I gave myself gout. It's the one, I swear to God. So I woke up, I think it was the day of the game, the Monday night. I woke up, I'm like, my knees are killing me. And I pulled back the sheet, and my friend looks at me, he's like, yeah, what were you, like, blowing someone the whole night? I'm like, oh, stop. But I was like, what is happening here? So Googling, looking, and sure enough, I gave myself gout from eating too many oysters from the Gulf. But whatever, it was worth it. They were amazing.
That is, I have a friend who his gout has gotten worse, and there's like certain things that he cannot eat, and there's like red meat, unfortunately, is something that, which is tough, right? That's
right.
Oysters are maybe a little bit easier or a ton of oysters maybe easier, but every once in a while he'll like make the preparations, get everything in line, knowing that he'll suffer tomorrow, and he'll go get a nice steak. And he'll just be like in bed the next day, swollen up. So I have a lot of sympathy for that. Cool. All right. Well, Jim, I'd love to. We talked a little bit before we started, but just kind of jump back in time, and I love talking about people's, because I know you're from here and your sort of backstory and kind of as you've come up in the industry, in the media industry, and kind of touch on some stuff. And I'd love to go like maybe all the way back and talk about how you got into this world and how you got curious about media in the first place, and sports and food maybe most importantly. And I'd love to just kind of learn more about you and your backstory.
Thanks. I fell into it almost by, I don't know, ass backwards, for lack of a better term, because I really didn't have much direction as a high school student. I barely graduated high school, nothing to be proud of. It was just, I was directionless, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And thankfully, my parents didn't push me that hard to like, you got to go to college, or you got to. My dad was a lifetime elevator repairman, which paid well, but he used to refer to himself as an overpaid grease monkey. But I have soft hands. I was kind of a klutz, and he said, like, this isn't for you. Like, you'd probably fall down an elevator shaft and die. So I always had sort of a creative side, so I knew I wanted to do something like that. I just didn't know what it was. And in my late teens, I got into playing guitar. So I at least had that moment that many teens do. I'm like, I'm going to be a famous musician. But I sucked at guitar, and anyone I ever played with, I brought that whole like thing down. So I realized, well, if I can't play well enough, maybe I can record music. So there was a now defunct school. It was Mass Communications College in the Back Bay, right by where Club Cafe is. As I imagine it's still there. It got bought by the Art Institute years later. But I went there because it was like kind of a fake school where you get an associate's degree, and they made all these like false promises of like, you'll get job placement. So I was like, I'll be working on records in no time. But I almost immediately realized, like, I've made a tragic mistake because I didn't like it. And I forget the professor's name, but he had credits on Double Fantasy and, like, a few of these, like, big records from the 70s and 80s. And day one, he said to the class, which was, like, me and 8 other people, no getting into this. You'll probably go through 2 divorces. You'll develop a drug problem. You'll, like, probably ruin your life. But if you like this, it'll be the most satisfying thing you'll ever do, and you'll probably chase it, or, you'll get your name on some records like I did, and he rattled them off. And then one day you're in front of a group of people like you, and now I teach. And it just, I remember hitting me, I'm like, oh, this sounds like a nightmare. And I don't want to do this. And so, I just realized, I'm like, I've made a mistake. And so a friend at the time was like, well, you have a nice voice, and you're kind of funny. Like, why don't you switch to radio, like I'm in? And I was like, okay. Dopey guy, following a girl's advice. But I was like, it immediately, I then took like a duck to water. Like once I started and switched to radio, I just liked it. Like, because it was like, okay, this offers me an opportunity to be a goofball. I listened to a lot of Howard Stern at the time. And so I was like, maybe I can follow this path. Growing up, I listened to like Kiss and Maddie in the Morning, like a lot of people around here. Late 90s, graduating high school, delivering pizzas. I'd listen to The Big Show and EEI and all of that. So I did like the sports end of it too. I didn't know I would end up being like a sports guy, and that would be the format I'd work in. I just was like, what can I do to be sort of an entertaining goofball and make money? And radio to me felt like an avenue to do that. So getting in there, one of my professors was Henry Santoro, who worked at WFNX, now works at GBH. He was one of the professors, and he told me, he's like, just get an internship. Like, that's the most important thing. And so I ended up interning at WFNX in 1997. And once I got in there, I'm like, I'm not leaving. Like, I was like, I'm going to be like a parasite. Like, once I get into a radio station, I'm not leaving until they hire me. And yeah, so now, what is it, close to 30 years later, I somehow found a way to cockroach a career out of it. So
that's cool. And so you see, I mean, radio, maybe as an uneducated person, like I think Boston radio, particularly sports radio, has remained a pretty strong industry, right? Where a lot of other cities have lost some of that over the way. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's the business is in a little bit of issue. It's got its issues, but what doesn't in 2025?
Right.
We're all struggling to survive. But yes, the good news is though, Jack, is that here, Philly, Chicago, New York. Sports radio, I still think, is a vibrant thing in that people want the immediacy of it. They want to know if the quarterback goes down or looks good in practice.
Yeah.
And you can't get that on podcasts. You can get it a day later. You can get it 8 hours later. But the immediacy of it is still important here because people care about it so much.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that. It'd be crazy not to be thankful for that with the position that I'm in or any of us because people care so much.
Yeah.
And that's good because I think that's only like 5 to 7 places in the country where it's still that viable.
Yeah, I think that's right. And how do you guys, that immediacy thing is interesting, right? Because I do think like the sports podcasts I listen to, I don't listen to a ton, maybe I should listen more, but it's usually interview based and non-timely things that I like, right? Like a long form interview with someone who's from the sports world that I think is interesting.
Yeah.
But if I need something soon, I have to go on Twitter, right? Or listen to the radio. How do you guys manage, because you have folks at Patriots training camp, right? And they're calling in the show when they get done. Like, how do you booking out to just kind of keep that immediacy going all the time?
So the Felger and Mazz show, we don't do guests per se all that much, but we will. So Greg Bedard, who runs Boston Sports Journals, covered NFL for decades. He's a typical Tuesday guest throughout the football season. And so we have him. But for the most part, it's like we're just kind of like everyone else, checking Twitter of the beat writers. And if something happens, either I'll mention it because I'm usually the one scrolling or Jimmy, our producer, will, and then we'll react from there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not breaking news every single day, but I still think, I'm of the belief, and look, I'm biased because this is what I do for a living, but if something does happen, I don't know why you would want to go anywhere else. Like, if something good or bad happens at a camp or in a game, or you hear something, again, you're not going to get that until a day later to get reaction from someone. If you're listening to a podcast or reading it. I mean, a big newspaper article can come out in a few hours, but I just still think the immediacy of it when there's big breaking news, you still gotta go to us. So.
I agree. I also think not even breaking news. I think that people like, if they're, people are in their car, they're at their home, they're at work. It's like, some people just want to get the regular updates, right? Like, how I couldn't watch the Celtics game last night. How did they look? I obviously, I guess Patriots training camp's on my mind because it's happening now and people are talking about it all the time. But it's like people aren't watching that, right? Like most people aren't sitting around watching that. But like I am curious, like what's happening? Like how is Will Campbell playing? Like how are these things happening?
Yeah.
And like so, it's not even like it doesn't necessarily have to be news, but it's like I think that information is helpful as I'm going about my day, right? Being like, oh, I am curious about like this stuff that is not maybe worthy of an article or a podcast or anything like that. That stuff matters.
And we've become such a football town too, which I'm thankful for. That once we do get to this point and camp opens, like there's definitely more buzz for them this year, the Patriots, than there has been in the last couple of years, and rightfully so. You have a new head coach who had success down in Tennessee, and Mike Vrabel, and so there's familiarity there too from like when he played here, and all he caught was touchdowns, and Drake May, like and I get a lot of flack for this. Like, I get it. Like, there's... With being a big opinionated asshole about, athletes and teams and sports, like, people are going to either like what you say or they don't like. And that's great. Like, as long as you feel something, I'm happy with it. But sometimes it's crazy, like some of the response I've seen over the years, either online or even a call. And sometimes, look, I haven't handled it well. But now I feel like I'm calloused up enough that I'm like, okay, like, it's just my opinion. Some stranger's mad. Big whoop. But people care, and that's what matters. But yeah, the buzz for this team, thankfully, is back. It feels like for now, and hopefully they're going to be good. Because, I still have questions about Drake May, and people don't like hearing that, I don't think. But I'm just saying, I have questions. I think the jury's out. I like the stature of him. I like the physical, what he brings from a physical standpoint. I just don't know if he's got the brain to do it. So we'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I have my questions. But there is more buzz for them. The camps were packed when they were allowing fans about a month ago, which is great. So hopefully they can back it up on the field, too. So I know I need it because I do the pregame for them, too.
Yeah.
And so when I'm working 7 days a week, when we get to December, let me tell you, Jack, these last couple of Decembers, when we've gotten to those Chargers games and it's 30% full and it's gray and depressing and cold, there's like no worse place to be. They need to start winning again.
You're like Bob Uecker in the Major League, right?
Oh, yeah. Pull the mic to the side. Like, these guys suck.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. Maybe I'm too optimistic. Do you find you as someone who's existed much of your life in Boston and on the radio and in sports radio, do you find has the Boston sports radio caller, the person that's calling into your show, have they changed over time? Are they more hopeful maybe than they once were, or are they kind of as same as ever?
So to our show, I think they're generally more crass, pessimistic, my kind of people. The people that are like looking for the flaws even in a win.
Yeah.
Because I don't know any other way. Like, that's the kind of fan that I grew up being.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my mom basically having a nervous breakdown when the Red Sox lost in '86. My mom was more of a sports fan than my dad was. My dad was always into hockey. Yeah. That was really it. Everything else was just kind of ancillary. To him, my mom loved it all, but especially the Red Sox and then the Patriots. And so even she was just always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And after the 2 decades of success and always, Brady and the Patriots, pulling wins completely out of their asses. I still feel that way. I shouldn't, but I just do because that's how I was raised. So I think the callers to our show are more like that, thankfully.
Yeah.
I think sports fandom, by and large, in this city, as much as people do care, and I appreciate their passion, has changed, for me, to the worse.
Yeah.
It's very... there's a lot of, I only want to hear the good stuff, and this is why... And congrats to all these podcasts that are successful, but I feel like it's a lot of an echo chamber, and they're only telling them the good stuff. And, people like us in our show, they're the negative assholes, and, just ignore them. And that's fine. Make your choices. But I also think you're, living in fantasy land to only look at the positives of these teams or how a player is playing or not performing or how the owners spend. I don't know. I've always looked at it with a critical eye. So I appreciate that more than the everything's awesome.
Having said all that, what will the Patriots record be come January? What are you putting your money on?
What do I think or what do I hope?
What do you think?
8-9.
I just said I hope it's 9-8.
Yeah. My hope is 9-8. And 9-8, 10-7, something like that. All I want, selfishly, is we get to, I mentioned that Chargers nightmare in December these last couple of years. It's the middle of December. It's Sunday Night Football. They go to halftime. Yeah. There's Karnacki.
Yeah.
And they're in the hunt.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see. Because I don't expect them to go from 4 wins back-to-back seasons. I still think they have some real roster holes. Mm-hmm. That offensive line feels shaky.
Yeah.
And I have questions about the quarterback. So, but they ostensibly have an easy schedule based on, the teams that they played and their win-loss record last year. So they should be competitive. They're going to be more competitive. I think you can already tell that for me watching these first couple of preseason games. There's a physicality there. Guys finishing plays, trying to light guys up, kind of taking their souls, dropping shoulders. I like seeing that. But you also saw that early on with Mayo and that win they had in Cincinnati, so I don't want to buy too much into it. I'm just trying to be realistic. I don't know if they're going to go from 4 to 10. I think 8 and 9 probably just missed the playoffs. But as long as they're competitive in December and we see in the hunt, I'll be happy.
All right, and this is another question that just popped into my head, which is, I don't think I've ever asked before, which is, all right, so you've been here, through, you go back to the 86 Mets, right? And then all the way now. Do you have a favorite championship team of the last 25 years?
Yeah. It's that first Pats one. Yeah. It's that first Pats one. That's the one that I wait for the other shoe to drop and these teams to lose. But that 0-1, I never thought I would see any of these teams win. Yeah. I never thought what had happened there for those 2 decades of dominance, in this city, and all of the teams winning. I never thought I would see any of it.
Yeah.
And that one was still so crazy and improbable and I remember distinctly that first Brady moment. I mean, he had already played, but the real moment of like, what just happened there?
Yeah.
And it was the home game against the Chargers that he like balled out, and they came back. I was getting a haircut by my then girlfriend, who was a hairdresser. And she, I remember, it was two odd moments because she realized like I had this male pattern baldness thing going on, and she was like, she like stopped mid haircut and went, "Oh," and I went, "What?" And she goes, "You're losing your hair." I was like, "Yeah," I'm like, and I'm paying attention to the game in front of me. Like, I'm going bald, but this guy's amazing. What am I watching here? Because Drew Bledsoe was good and a cannon arm, but like always was a bad pick or a terrible play waiting to happen. I never expected them to win.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, watching that particular game, I'm like, "What the fuck is this? Who's this guy?"
Yeah.
And he ended up becoming. I mean, anyone that said then,
Right.
I had thought, I'm like, okay, they might have something here.
Yeah.
If you would have told me in whatever that was, October of 2001, that guy would become the greatest player who ever played the game, I would have said, like, please, crazy. Maybe they win a Super Bowl or two with him.
Yeah.
As much as he won, it's bananas.
It is
absolutely bananas. So it's that first one, with 1B being the one against the Seahawks in the Super Bowl 49.
Yeah.
Just because of everything leading up to it, that's the beginning of Deflategate. They're now going, because I was more a Brady guy than I was the Patriots when it really comes down to it. He was everything I ever wanted to root for as a sports fan.
Right.
And so now the talk is like, well, he gets to these Super Bowls and loses. Like the last two against the Giants, like, sure, he played, but he keeps losing them. And now he's going to lose his third in a row. And then that circus thing that happens, the catch, and all of a sudden they're going to lose because, here the Seahawks are in the red zone. And like, just like that, they're going to lose this game.
Yeah.
And then the pick by Malcolm Butler. And I wish I had a fun story to tell you of like, I went and jumped and went bananas with my friends. I actually, when Brady threw the pick to Bobby Wagner, I stormed out of my friend's house. I was working in Connecticut radio at the time. There was going to be a big snowstorm. Remember, there was like the time of ice dams and millions of feet of snow. There was going to be another snowstorm. I went to my hotel that the radio station got for me, and I watched the rest of that game by myself. And when Malcolm Butler picked that ball off, I just went, what? Like, did that just happen? I watch it now and I get chills and I get mad at myself. I'm like, I should have had the craziest reaction, but I just was like, did that just happen?
That same thing.
Because I was like, I was broken. Like, they've lost another one.
Yeah.
And then that pick happened. I'm like, really? Like, that's the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
And it didn't hit me for like an hour later. And then I talked to my friends. I'm like, I pretended. I'm like, yeah, I went nuts. I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, it was, that one I hold near and dear too, because then that becomes the next part of Brady's dominance and the Pats' dominance. And I thought they had lost that game.
I agree. I was slunk so far down on this couch at my friend's house that my head was like the only thing on the chair. And it happened, and I agree. There was a few other Patriots fans there. No one believed you. I don't think anyone could have believed it. That's why I see videos where people erupt. It's like, how could you even tell?
Yeah, right.
I was so defeated. I was like I was melted into a puddle on the floor. That it was like so shocking that could have even been a thing. I agree. I mean, that's like the way I kind of characterize it. Is like I was in high school when they won the first one, so I was 16 years old, and it was awesome, and it was really great. And then the other two were obviously, in that first bit were amazing. The Malcolm Butler catch is the single greatest play that I can remember. Right?
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Well, the improbability of it, right?
I was completely shocked and floored by it. I was speechless.
Yeah.
And then the Atlanta one is like this like masterpiece that took place over an hour or whatever it took over to run the game. Like those are kind of three things that like they're awesome for very, very different reasons.
Yeah.
But I agree that catch, man. I don't know how anyone could have thought that happened in real time. It was too crazy.
So just quick story. So that I mentioned how they send us to these Super Bowls. Yeah. That was my first. So 2016. Cool. So 28-3. And I had worked in Atlanta, like I mentioned, and all these people were working for that sports station I work for. It's the Falcons, it's the Patriots, and me and my pessimistic nature. By halftime, or 28-3, I'm texting all these people who are up in the booth. I'm like, congrats. I'm like, figures. First Super Bowl I go to, it's this fucking blowout. Like, first time the Pats are blown out in a Super Bowl. And I was sitting with one of our engineers at the time. And after sending all these texts, I'm just like, moo. My wife texting me being like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. This just blows. And then as they chip away at it, I'm like, And then that one, I remember reading about Vinny. Remember the quarterback Vinny Testaverde?
Sure.
His dad couldn't go to his games, especially when he first got drafted and go to Tampa because he had a heart issue. Like he felt like he was gonna have a heart attack watching these games. That's how I was for years as a sports fan. And at 28-3 too, I was like, this is also awesome, but I might die here.
Yeah.
Like this is, I could feel my heart about coming out of my chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have like photos and video of me like crying like a child at the end of that because it's like the most improbable thing I've ever watched outside of Malcolm Butler. Because at 28-3, like this is over. They've played like garbage for this whole game, and they just chip away, and they have the most improbable comeback in Super Bowl history. It was crazy. I was very lucky to be at that.
That's awesome. That for me, it's like that. Because I'm kind of the same way. My dad is 75 and very much like your mom, just like calling me when they're up in the fourth quarter, like they're gonna blow it. I know it. Like, so I am of that, maybe not of that generation, but certainly raised by that.
Pessimistic.
Oh my God, my grandfather too. They would just watch and they'd just be like, what's gonna happen? Don't worry. So I get that. Entirely, but I watch through that lens too. But there's always like that moment, like for me, it was like when Hightower with the strip sack.
Yeah,
I was like, oh shit, this might happen actually, right? There's like that moment where you're like, it's like not to reference Major League twice in the same movie, but if you remember with like Randy Quaid, where he's like, they suck, and then at the very end he like rips off and stuff like that. There's always like that moment with that where you're like, I'm all the way back, baby.
They pulled me back in.
So those are I think those are the best for me as well. Cool. All right. Well, let's talk some questions here.
Yeah.
I might transition to food via sports to food. I have them written here just so I make some sense of it. So first one is, we're talking football a lot, right?
Yep.
Imagine, and I know you do the pregame. So imagine a world where you're at home, you're not at the game, you're at home, you're on your couch. It's a 1:00 kickoff, and you can have anything delivered to you. So you sit down and you're watching a football game. What meal would be the perfect Sunday fall football?
The perfect Sunday fall football thing. So my wife makes an amazing chili mac. So that's one of the things I always look forward to during the football season. And it's like just basic Kraft macaroni and cheese, but she makes like a fresh chili from scratch, and then some Tostitos to scoop and all that. So I like picking out on that. But to deliver, I'm kind of easy. I just like pizza and wings. I just want like pizza, wings, some cold beers, bunch of blue cheese to dip both in. But yeah, one of those two things I think would suffice.
I like that. Do you have a favorite pizza place?
Nana's in Everett will deliver to where I live, and it's kind of has the taste of like, it reminds me of like biting into 1988 Papa Gino's. Like, which is what it's very basic. I just want like a straight cheese. That's usually our go-to.
I love it. I actually have a Papa Gino's related question here.
Okay.
Which is, I try to ask these questions sometimes because they're very, very regional and no one outside of 128 would ever give a shit. But it is a ranking of regional pizzerias.
Oh.
So the three I'm going to put on there's three. Is Papa Gino's, Bertucci's, and Pizzeria Regina.
Regina's number one with a bullet. So there's the Polcari's on Route 1 in Sauga. So I'm like more North Shore-y burbs. That Polcari's always nails.
Yep.
I like their spicy dipping oil. I usually get a bottle of that to be an extra pig to dip slices in. So that's number one with a bullet for me. Papa Gino's 2, even though I don't think they're like late 80s, early 90s Papa Gino's. Yeah. And then Bertucci's 3, only because they're one of the rare. I have like an iron stomach, except for one thing, and this is a me problem, not a Bertucci's problem. Bertucci sauce goes through me like lightning. It's a nightmare. Like, and I wish it wasn't because I think their food's good, the pizza's good, their rolls are amazing. Yeah. But there's something in their sauce that is just straight fire. Every time I have it, it's like run to the bathroom. It's a real problem. So yeah, they're last on the list just by default. It's my bad insides.
I love that. I too, Papa Gino's and Bertucci's particularly when I think of those, I think of like 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's just
It's a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
So there used to be a Papa's in what is now the North Shore Mall. I used to refer to the Peabody Mall, and occasionally, like after Sunday, dinner at my grandmother's. A big, I'm half Italian, half Irish, so we'd have the big Italian meal. So we'd usually have the big Italian meal, but then go to the mall and then grab a slice and then eat a salad bar. They used to have a salad bar at Papa Gino's, which is amazing. That was like, it just reminds me of childhood. Yeah. And so, it's just not been like that for decades now.
So next one, which would be if you could craft a perfect day of eating, which is you can get, your perfect breakfast, your perfect lunch, your perfect dinner, all within the confines of Massachusetts, New England. Where are you going?
All right. Well, apologies to my lovely wife. This means I'm doing it by myself because my wife has one flaw. She doesn't eat Asian food.
Okay.
And she doesn't eat seafood.
Okay.
So I have to get this when I'm by myself. So if I'm going to spend a day by myself, breakfast, lunch, dinner, I'm going to be a pig.
Yep.
I love a basic breakfast. So my other answer was when I went back and forth with over the weekend, what do we do well around here? Diners. Diners in New England, like New England, not just a Boston thing. Mom and pop, usually Greek-owned diners are always awesome.
Yep.
And so I'm going to go to the North Ave Diner in Wakefield, and I'm going to get 2 eggs sunny side up, side of wheat toast, side of extra crispy bacon, and I'm going to get corned beef hash, and I want them to burn the hell out of it.
Yeah.
That's going to be breakfast. Lunch, I'm going to go to Sam LaGrasse's, and I'm going to get their tuna sandwich, because Sam LaGrasse's is just amazing. Their sandwiches are out of control. And I would want to get a Reuben, but I have to not be that big of a pig. I love a tuna sandwich. That's Sam LaGrasse's tuna. Their pickles, my mouth's watering thinking about it, even after I've eaten all this delicious Chinese food. So that's going to be lunch. Side of potato salad as well. Their potato salad is as good as I've ever had. And then dinner, and I know this from watching the show. I know we got Asian food here, but this is up the street. But you are well-versed, I feel like, Jack, in all the Asian cuisine in Malden and how it is like the mecca of great Asian food in Massachusetts.
It's true.
I'm going to All Seasons Table.
Yep.
And shout out to Dougie Tran, who owns that place, who's going to show up, as he always does, like one of these grip and grin type of guys, which I love. Probably buy me a free drink. So I'm going to have a drink or 3, and I'm going to get 5 different rolls. The Scotty roll, the Torch Atlantic salmon, get a couple of those. They have this thing they put in a martini glass. It's on the appetizer menu. That's like a seafood salad. And I'm just going to eat until I feel shame.
Yeah.
At All Seasons. I love that place so much.
This is a good day.
Yeah.
This is a good day. And yes, I am. I appreciate you acknowledging that. I am a Malden maximalist on this. And I will give some credit. I do hear people. Quincy is also probably doesn't get the fair share on Asian food, but for me it's Malden one, no questions about it.
Now you have the people that own Crying Tiger.
Yes.
They have 3 restaurants now, and
Yes.
each one is each thing that opens in that area. I'm like, this is just better than the last. Everything there is so good.
The Tiger Triumvirate or whatever.
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
right?
that's
There's Tiger's Den, Crying Tiger. Shoot, I can't remember the third one. Yeah, it's a great. I like District Kitchen.
District Kitchen's great.
I
Great
like-
Dan noodles there.
I like. Oh, have you ever been to DP Saigon Subs? Good little banh mi.
No. Okay.
It's like $6 for a banh mi.
Okay.
I'll get 2 for $12, and I'll have
that's
one.
amazing.
On the weekend, I'll have one at lunch and then one pre-dinner.
One's your Before we go out, babe, I need to have a little snack.
It's awesome. That's a great.
Zuru's good over there for ramen too.
Yep.
They deliver. That sometimes is a football. Depending as the weather gets colder, I'll get some ramen for myself there delivered.
Yeah, it is. I like Ming's across the street too.
Yep.
That whole stretch. That's where my dog goes to daycare right now. So
Very convenient,
I'm
Jack.
popping in.
Yeah.
I'm like, just something quick, please.
Could have taken him anywhere else in that area. Let's go to Malden, where all the great food is.
Exactly. All right. This is a big one, which is your last night on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
You're here. You got to go somewhere around in the area. You're gone tomorrow. What are you eating?
Another one I thought about all weekend. So, look, there's places that I want to say because I love them, and they're places my wife and I like to go to, like Il Ponte or Polana in Peabody, which I think is the best steak restaurant around. All Seasons, Toro. But at my core, Jack, I am North Shore trash. And so if it's my last meal and I'm gone tomorrow, I want the flavors that I thought about when I didn't live around here. So when I lived in Atlanta for a while, I came back and I wanted to go to 2 places, and that's where I'm going to eat. And because they remind me of everything I can't get somewhere else, and growing up in places I went to with my folks. And so first we start at Kelly's. I'm going to Kelly's roast beef, and I'm going to get a lobster roll with a side of onion rings and then a large clam and like 5 tartar sauces. And I'm going to eat all of that. I'm going to loop around on Route 1, and we're going to Kowloon.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a poo-poo platter with a side of Saugus wing sauce. People always, the Saugus wings are great, but I just want the Saugus wing sauce, because the trick is to get the wings that come in the Saugus wing sauce, which come in the poo-poo platter, and you dip, because they're crunchier that way. And you get the chicken fingers, you dip the hell out of that. I'm getting some pork fried rice as well. I'm going to get some steamed dumplings, a couple of Mai Tais, and I'm good. And then you can take me to the afterlife. But that's what I want, because it's about, like, foods. You have this show for a reason, because people are so passionate about food, and food brings up memories and things of your past and what it reminds you. It's nostalgic. It's delicious. It makes you happy. And so, with those two things, if I got to do the Bang Bang, do you remember when they did the Bang Bang in Louis C.K.'s show? Yeah. It's him and Bobby Kelly. Yeah. And they go Indian Diner. Yeah. I'm going Bang Bang Kelly's in Kowloon. That's what I want. 'Cause it's gonna fulfill it's gonna check every box. Nostalgia, flavor, happiness, all of it. So.
That is the most North Shore answer.
The only missing is like a roast beef or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, steak tips and a roast beef sandwich to hit the road. I love that answer. That's awesome. We have not gone to Kowloon or Kelly's. It's a fantastic answer. Now I'm thinking about Kowloon. All right. So then, final question of these rapid fire, which is, do you have a favorite budget meal, like a cheap eats anywhere around here?
I think it leads me to, I think, another thing we're good at around here. It's these mom and pop pizza places, like usually Greek-owned pizza places. You pop in, it's 2 slices and a drink for like $6, $7, $8, and so you can't beat that. And I don't usually love, I like the slice that has the flop, or even like the New Haven style. But a Greek style pizza, it's like what we mostly grew up around here. I like it, I don't love it, but it's good to, if I'm hungry, I'm on the run, I got $10 on me. Yeah, why not? Yeah. A couple of slices and a bottle of water. Yeah. And I get $1 back, or I leave $1 tip. I'm good with that. And you can't beat that. Although you mentioned that like a banh mi for like $12, 2 for $12, so that's pretty good. Yeah. But anywhere you might have to dig a little to find a place that's got a good banh mi for cheap money. Yeah. You can go in any town in Massachusetts and find that mom and pop pizza place that'll give you 2 slices and a Coke for $8.
Yep. Just Google House of Pizza, right? Or whatever town you're in, House of Pizza. Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way about that Greek pizza. That comes up a lot. I will say that Greek pizza, since I've been doing the show in the last year, is maybe the most it is a lightning rod. People either like what we're talking about, which is like, I grew up on that Harvard House of Pizza on Mass Ave in Cambridge. Once every 2 weeks, my dad would go there when he was in charge of dinner, and that's what we had.
Mother's Pizza in Melrose, Thursday nights. My mother was a hairdresser. She'd come home with a large cheese from Mother's. It was great.
It's the best, right? And so it's like, it's like, if someone was like, hey, I want good pizza, I wouldn't get that. But to me, it means a lot. And so like, every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I want that. I want that Greek, that flaky, light crust. Yep. I want it. People either feel that way and they support it, or they are like, this is garbage. You people are garbage people. Yeah. Get away from me. I hate you. That's the only 2 responses to Greek pizza.
It's definitely polarizing. Yeah. Like, again, so I worked in Connecticut for a while. Anyone that's down there that grew up around that New Haven style, where they had like the original Frank Pepe's, and you give them that, they're like, this is trash. This is like Elio's. Like, don't give me this. Like, this isn't even pizza. Yeah. The other one like that is, I don't know if anyone's brought up, I feel like, again, I've watched all these, I don't think I've seen it, is the but the beach pizza, like it's Salisbury, like Tripoli and Christie's. Yeah. So I've given that to people, and they're like, this is trash. I'm like, but I love this. It's like sweet with the provolone on it. Like, I think it's delicious, but there's no gray area there either. People either think it's amazing, or they grew up with it, and they think it's like worse than frozen pizza. Yeah. I mean, we are creatures of habit, right? We are what we are. Like, this show exists because they're subjective answers. There isn't like one pizza to rule them all. Like, you're allowed to like whatever you want to like, but people just get, but you know how it is around here, and that's the charm of Boston. Everyone's an over-opinionated asshole, and so like, it's not just you're wrong. You're the most wrong, and like, I'm going to tell you why. Like, but there's a charm to that. You know? Yeah. Oh, I appreciate it. I like when the fights happen. Good. As long as they're not being dicks. Yeah.
in a mean-spirited way. All right, so that's the lightning round questions, and then in ending, Jim, is there anything we want to touch on? Is there anything you're excited about for the rest of the year, either personally, professionally, with sports? Like, is there anything that we look to the back half of the year? I'm always kind of thinking about, like, for me, it's Patriot season is what I'm excited about. Like, but
yeah,
what's coming down the pipeline that you're excited about in any avenue of your life?
Yeah. Well, I got my 6th wedding anniversary coming up this weekend. We're going to what's the restaurant that's in Raffles? It's like the Italian
La
place.
Padrona.
We're going to La Padrona.
I just went there last week for my wife's birthday.
I've heard it's amazing.
It's very good.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a little fancy and do that. So excited for that, and I am excited about the Patriots season this year, for better or worse. And I'm hoping it's better. And I hope I'm wrong in my doubts and my pessimistic ways don't come to fruition. Because look, if you listen with any regularity, people know I was Brady over Belichick, and that kind of warped my mind. And once he went to Tampa, I rooted for Brady, and now I'm like a man without a team. I'm like a man without a country. Like, I don't feel about the Patriots the way I once did. And the job has kind of eroded my fandom. It just has. Like, it just has. But I am rooting for them this year, and I was glad to be right that Belichick ended up looking like egg on his face, and they got their comeuppance. But it's been too much comeuppance. It's been too bad. I think they'll be better. They'll be more competitive. So I'm looking forward to that. And when they're home, I get to be down there for the preseason game, for the games. That's rather, fun, to do the pregame and be on the field, which is always fun. Yeah. I'm always I feel like a tourist, taking photos, sending to friends, look how huge they are. Looking forward to the football season. This dinner with my wife to celebrate our anniversary, and just fall in general. Yep. Fall around here is the best time to live in New England.
It is. Hoodie
weather, crisp.
Yep.
Best golf.
Yep.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
I love it. I'll tell you, the weather today, I was like,
you got a taste of it.
Feeling it.
That's why I got a hoodie on today. I was like, I'm busting it out early. It's hoodie weather.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in. Please,
thanks for having me.
Come back anytime.
We'll
give you some of this to go. And Jim, it's great conversation. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right.